محمد نبينا بنور هدينا محمد نبينا بنور هدينا.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria NAHCON says it would not extend the deadline for the 2018 Hajj registration by intending pilgrims and also urged them to speed up the payment of Hajj fare. The Director for Planning, Research, Statistics, Information and Library Services of the Commission, Alhaji Suleiman Usman, stated this during an interview.
This year, I'm afraid people will just have to do the right thing. They just have to pay on time. We just have to start planning right. We just have to act correctly. You continue to pay like you paid last year after towards the end of the last flight, you won't get visa, and therefore you cannot go. The Saudi government, unless they change their regulation, which is not expected, people would just have to pay by the end of May. Otherwise, the portal will be closed and no visa will be issued.
The Commission also called on state pilgrims welfare boards to update the data of those intending pilgrims that have completed their registration on NAHCON's portal in order to facilitate issuance of visa. Meanwhile, Nigeria has received 95,000 Hajj seat quota for the 2018 Hajj exercise. A statement by NAHCON Chief Media Officer Malam Adamu Abdullahi says out of this number, 75,000 will be allocated to states, while the remaining 20,000 goes to tour operators. Nigeria and other countries had their quota reduced due to the ongoing work for expansion of the two holy mosques in Mecca and Medina. Similarly, as part of the annual preparations for the 2017 Hajj, board members of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria embarked on a pre-Hajj visit to Saudi Arabia. During the visit, which lasted 2 weeks, NAHCON officials signed various contracts with service providers ahead of the Hajj exercise. Alhaji Suleiman shed more light on the visit.
Foremost, sign a memorandum of understanding with the Saudi Ministry of Hajj, which is the bedrock upon which all other agreements and service arrangements are made. There are other meetings with other service providers, like the people who provide transportation services in the Holy Land. There are people who provide feeding services, feeding and catering services. There are people who provide accommodation to the pilgrims. And all such issues are now being discussed, agreements reached, and then therefore the agreements being signed for consummation.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, urges all intending pilgrims from all states of the Federation to start installment payments of at least 300,000 naira monthly for this year's Hajj from November 2017 to March 2018.
The payments and registration should be made at respective state Muslim pilgrims welfare offices nationwide through the NAHCON online registration portal at www.nigeriahajcom.gov.ng free of charge. Therefore, no fee is required for any form for the 2018 Hajj registration at all, nor by the pilgrims registration officers of the state's board.
Payments could be made by bank draft or online platforms of the state pilgrims welfare offices, and receipt must be collected there and then. No cash payment to any person.
All intending pilgrims traveling through states Muslim pilgrims welfare agencies, boards, commissions, and those traveling using tour operators must note that the 2018 Hajj calendar requires that by March ending, all payments must have been concluded in Nigeria to finalize preparations against the May 2018 deadline for the closure of Saudi Hajj portal.
This message is from the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, has over the years been taking measures to ensure that Nigerian pilgrims perform Hajj rites without stress. As a result, a number of policies are being introduced towards realizing this objective. One of these policies include that of discouraging pregnant women from taking part in the Hajj. Dr. Ibrahim Kana is the head of medical team at NAHCON. He explains the reasons for the introduction of pregnancy policy by the Commission.
We all know that pregnancy on its own is not a contraindication to any woman performing Hajj. But over the years, in the last 10-15 years, we have experienced bad situation where a lot of women actually go to Saudi Arabia, one, to deliver. Some, before even the stage of delivery, they actually lose the pregnancy there. Therefore, it creates a lot of embarrassment to the country, number one. Number two, it adds up to a lot of stress, physical stress to the medical services during Hajj. Thirdly, even to the Saudi system, because the facility, the medical services we render as a country to our pilgrims is not secondary or tertiary care. Therefore, when a woman comes and loses her pregnancy or even gets to the stage of labor, we don't have facilities to manage such patients. So we have to refer them to Saudi hospitals.
NAHCON is carrying out this policy with support from the Saudi Arabian government.
It's a bilateral agreement between the government of Nigeria and the Saudi government. On our own side, we have our own responsibility. On their own side, they equally have their own responsibility. This is our own side of the responsibility. We as a government, as a people, we must own up. We must exhibit some level of discipline. You know, we shouldn't, Hajj on its own is extremely stressful.
NAHCON is making efforts to ensure that the policy is effectively implemented so as to prevent emergency cases in the Holy Land.
First is the stress we undergo during Hajj. Even a normal person, a healthy individual, is difficult for him to perform Hajj, talk more of a pregnant woman. And pregnancy itself brings down the immunity of a woman generally. Therefore, she is prone to so many dangers, because with the midst of people from different countries, you know, there are a lot of diseases which one can contact through that mixed up. And she is more at risk of getting such problems. That is one. And then she is at risk of having a lot of like pregnancy loss. The risk is increased, especially in those people who are within the early stage of pregnancy and those who are at the late stage of pregnancy.
Delivering baby is not an easy thing. You know, mothers or pregnant mothers must be well taken care of. At the end of the day, it might result into cesarean section. The baby after delivery might also run into some problems that will require incubation, phototherapy, and many other problems associated with neonatal situations. And therefore, it puts a lot of pressure, not to even talk of the diplomatic or consular issues that will arise thereafter. One woman going to Saudi Arabia at the airport, she was stamped and received. On her exit, two of them are going out. No passport, no visa. That has a lot of immigration issues.
There are inconveniences associated with childbirth while in the Holy Land, and how Hajj officials and other stakeholders are affected by such acts. Any woman that delivers a child in the Holy Land during the Hajj suffers neglect and lack of proper care.
As a matter of fact, it's much easier for you to deliver at home, where the family care is actually there, provided for you, to the woman and to her baby, to newborn baby. In Saudi Arabia, everybody is very much on his own. Hajj is stressful. Everybody is stressed. You cannot imagine how somebody will now allow somebody to go and stay with you in the hospital after cesarean section, or the baby, where you have to be breastfeeding the baby either through express breast milk, or even in worst case scenario where the baby will require transfusion.
There was a woman who had abortion. I cannot remember the state particularly, but she hid in her room and had the abortion in her room. Therefore, she now had bleeding, which now prone her to come to the hospital. She now presented to the clinic where she was taken care of then. And then, unfortunately for her, the rigorous activities she had cost the abortion for her. So we had to, you know, the care was not adequate. She had abortion at home, and she was now having some abortion complications, you know, because she had the abortion in an aseptic environment. So those are the kind of things you have. Others can have that and bleed to death.
What then is the position of Islam on this policy? Sheikh Musa Tanimu sheds more light.
During the lifetime of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, women with pregnancy are allowed to perform the Hajj, because I could remember Asma'u binti Abi Bakr, Asma'u, the wife of Abu Bakr, Siddiq, delivered on her way to Hajj. So even the Abu Bakr, saying Abu Bakr, the first Khalifa, asked the Prophet ﷺ, saying, my wife has delivered, can he be able to continue to perform the Hajj? He said, yes, she is allowed. But all what she is going to perform, she will be outside the mosque, holy mosque. It means she can do Safa the Marwa, she can attend Arafat and a lot of things, but only thing that she's not going to do is circumambulating around the Kaaba because of their blood, this thing that is coming. So when it is up, she can be able to perform.
Despite this, Sheikh Musa Tanimu says when there is health issues involved, pregnant women can be stopped from going to Hajj.
A woman with pregnancy sometimes is not allowed. Actually, it's acceptable by the scholars' interpretation, by the scholars' fatwa. That's why all women with pregnancy are not allowed to perform, because they need a lot of physical activities. So we cannot say it is haram, because it was advised by our medical teams. It's their own field, it's their own profession. They advise saying that a woman with pregnancy is advisable not to perform Hajj, especially in the contemporary, where we have millions of pilgrims that are attending the action.
In order to ensure compliance, state pilgrims welfare boards who allow pregnant women to make the Hajj are sanctioned by NAHCON.
Since state pilgrims welfare agencies or commissions or boards own these pilgrims, we decided to institute punishment to the state pilgrims agencies that allow the pregnant women to actually get or cross over to go and perform Hajj or to go to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Pilgrims' orientation is key to the success of this policy, and NAHCON is exploring it fully.
But most importantly, really, is awareness creation. You know, as far as I'm concerned, awareness creation is more important than even the punitive measures. So we have constantly continued to remind women that when you are pregnant, please suspend Hajj. Please suspend Hajj.
Despite all these measures, some pregnant women still find their way to the Holy Land. The reasons for doing that by some women is based on some popular belief that makes women want to give birth in Saudi Arabia during the Hajj.
The fact that one was born in Mecca or was even born inside Haram is not different from a child. In fact, the ulamas have consistently reminded us that there is no difference actually in terms of where you die or where you are born. What matters is what your performance as a human being within this period. So we are calling on potential Nigerian pilgrims or intending pilgrims that please, if you are pregnant, stay at home. If you have a chronic illness that is not treatable as such, stay at home. There's no difference between Nigeria or in Saudi Arabia in terms of delivery or mortality.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, urged all intending pilgrims to seek knowledge on how to perform Hajj and Umrah in order to attain the desired results. To achieve this, NAHCON directs all the pilgrims' welfare boards and agencies as well as tour operators to organize enlightenment programs for all the intending pilgrims from date of payment to commencement of operations. It is your right to be educated on how to perform Hajj and Umrah. For more information, visit guide.nigeriahajcom.gov.ng or send an email to info@nigeriahajcom.gov.ng. This message is brought to you by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON.
سطع في المدينة محمد نبينا بنور هدينا اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة.
Hajj, being the fifth pillar of Islam, is mandatory on individuals that have means and are capable. But in a situation where one cannot perform Hajj because of health challenges and or old age among others, then Hajj by proxy might be an option. On Hajj Talk tonight, we focus on how an individual can delegate somebody to perform Hajj on his behalf. Our guide is Malam Haliru Maraya. He begins by explaining the position of Islam on Hajj by proxy.
The religion of Islam is a religion that always likes people to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala conveniently. That is why the pilgrimage is only an obligation upon those who are capable of doing it. The capability could be in terms of health, could be in terms of the wherewithal, the resources with which one is expected to have before they can successfully conduct the Hajj. Now, when it comes to the capability in relation to the health issue or in relation to the body strength, somebody may wish to conduct the Hajj, but at that material time they are very, very old. Or at that material time they are very, very sick. Then Sharia now allows delegation of responsibility. One, in other words, can conduct the Hajj on behalf of others.
Malam Maraya says whoever is delegated to perform Hajj on behalf of another person must meet the conditions of conducting the Hajj.
One, he must be sane. That means he's not an insane. That means he must have attained the age of puberty. He has attained the adolescent stage, and also he's knowledgeable as far as the Hajj rituals are concerned, and also he has the wherewithal to conduct the Hajj in terms of resources and also in terms of health.
The Islamic scholar speaks on the most important requirements for the performing of Hajj by proxy.
The condition is that anyone who is going to conduct Hajj on behalf of others, the person must have conducted the pilgrimage hitherto. If you have not conducted the Hajj, then you are not permitted to perform the pilgrimage on behalf of anybody. That means Mr. A has now been delegated to conduct the pilgrimage on behalf of Mr. B. The condition is that Mr. A must have conducted the Hajj for himself previously. If there wasn't a time he conducted the pilgrimage, then Sharia does not allow him to conduct the Hajj on behalf of anybody.
When embarking on Hajj by proxy, Malam Maraya speaks on who determines the type of Hajj to be performed from the range of choices which include Qiran, Ifrad, and Tamattu.
It is the right of the person for whom the Hajj is going to be conducted. For instance, Mr. A is going to conduct the pilgrimage on behalf of Mr. B. Now it is the responsibility of Mr. B, it is the right of Mr. B to state what type of Hajj Mr. A is going to conduct on their behalf. You get my point.
He sheds more light as to whether it is allowed for the proxy to perform the Hajj for another individual that is not of the same gender.
There is no distinction between the male and the female sex. A male person can conduct the pilgrimage on behalf of a female person and vice versa. When it comes to intention, that is where the person to be conducting the Hajj for comes into mind. Malam Musa is now going to conduct Hajj for Hawa. Then Malam Musa will now say, Labbaika umratan an Hawa. You understand? For instance, now he is going to conduct Tamattu. You know, whenever you are to conduct Tamattu, obligatorily you have to start with the lesser pilgrimage, that is the Umrah.
He speaks on the fate of the proxy in the event of a breach in the initial agreement on the type of Hajj to be performed.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the type of Hajj he has conducted. Now he has breached the agreement. Notwithstanding, the Hajj of the person for whom the pilgrimage is being conducted for
will be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the basis of his intention. And the person who has gone to Saudi Arabia and conducted the type of pilgrimage contrary to the wish of the person who has sent him to conduct the Hajj, that very person has breached an agreement, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will certainly punish him for that.
He addresses the issue of compensation for the proxy if necessary.
Malam Musa has chosen Malam Zubairu to conduct the pilgrimage on their behalf. Then it is an agreement now between the two parties. Malam Zubairu, I want you to go to Saudi Arabia to conduct the pilgrimage on my behalf. What do you want me to give you? Oh, I'm going to do it free of charge. Fine. No. After you have paid everything, then I'm also expected to get something from you. Give me $1,000, give me $2,000, give me 50,000 naira, give me 10,000 naira. This agreement is between the two parties. Sharia has no say as far as the agreement is concerned.
He also clarifies the position on Umrah by proxy.
Analogically, one can do the lesser pilgrimage on behalf of other person. Analogically, because Sharia permits one to conduct the pilgrimage on behalf of others. Analogically, it allows one to also conduct the lesser pilgrimage on behalf of others.
However, scholars unanimously agree that it is not allowed for one who is able to perform Hajj himself to appoint someone else to perform the obligatory Hajj on their behalf, and those set of people who can later in life recover from their hindrances include a poor person, one with a short-term illness, as well as one with political or security circumstances.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, urges all intending pilgrims from all states of the Federation to start installment payments of at least 300,000 naira monthly for this year's Hajj from November 2017 to March 2018.
The payments and registration should be made at respective state Muslim pilgrims welfare offices nationwide through the NAHCON online registration portal at www.nigeriahajcom.gov.ng free of charge. Therefore, no fee is required for any form for the 2018 Hajj registration at all, nor by the pilgrims registration officers of the state's board.
Payments could be made by bank draft or online platforms of the state pilgrims welfare offices, and receipt must be collected there and then. No cash payment to any person.
All intending pilgrims traveling through states Muslim pilgrims welfare agencies, boards, commissions, and those traveling using tour operators must know that the 2018 Hajj calendar requires that by March ending, all payments must have been concluded in Nigeria to finalize preparations against the May 2018 deadline for the closure of Saudi Hajj portal.
This message is from the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك